Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel and to this first episode on this Zafira, which I'm gonna flip into a Ferrari. This should be interesting. This is my latest fun car, and if I show you some of the fun cars I've had before, you'll see why this is not the kind of thing that anyone would have ever expected me to buy, including me. Have a look and see. So when I bought this, it was originally going to be a stock car, not as in the type of stock car that you smash up, but a car for in stock for my car company. So I've got a body shop and I'm branching off into car sales because that's my background. So basically that was the plan, and then I've been trying to get £5 together for a couple of years, as you know, to start this series that I've been promising, and it just wasn't really happening, so I decided to just start with this. So let me show you what we're dealing with. So it turns out that this belonged to a couple who I actually went to school with, who I didn't recognise at first. Sorry about that, guys. And when I saw it, I kind of thought, yeah, that's not needing too much done. That's great. So basically, it had some lacquer peel. You can see I've had a little go at this. It's had some lacquer peel on the back bumper. So firstly, let me show you why that's happened. The reason that's happened is because obviously you can't feel it, but if you look at it, you can see, hopefully, that surface is very, very smooth. And if it's very, very smooth, it's not going to adhere properly. So I'm not sure what they've done. It's almost like somebody's lacquered over lacquer. Maybe they've left it too long before putting the next coat on, something like that. But basically that lacquer's not adhered properly, and that's why it's now peeling off. So basically, what is impressive is how long that's taken, because they have had the car for 7 years and it's only now peeling off. But I don't want to sell this to somebody and then the lacquer is going to start peeling off the back bumper. Definitely not a good look for somebody who has a body shop. So basically what we're going to do is address this, and it's the same on the front. Let me show you the front as well. Yeah, so there we go. We've got lacquer peel on the front as well. I was originally thinking about doing a smart repair, but then once I looked at all the little bits, I decided it wasn't worth it, and then I started to think about the fact that it could well go in other places as well, and I don't really want that to happen to somebody who buys a car from me. So basically that is what we were dealing with, but unfortunately one of my customers accidentally reversed into this wing and they put a pretty good dent. Now we have obviously started repairing this because it was originally meant to be a car for stock, and so that's all that's been done so far. So it was pretty well dented in, not terrible, just a kind of average dent really. So what we did is we pulled it out. You'll get to see me doing this on other cars. We pulled it out with a spot dent puller and got it out as close to the original shape as possible. And then what the guys have done is, a couple of my friends that did this, they've just kind of put some filler on that. So what we're going to need to do now is block that down and then put a lighter skim of a different type of filler on it. So I'll talk to you about everything that I'm doing as I'm doing it. But basically that's where I'm going to start today. I'm going to block that down. I can feel that it's a bit flat there in the middle. So we just need to keep working away at it until we get it into the right shape. And you'll see how that happens, hopefully, as we're going along. And then what we'll do is we'll address the bumpers. And what's going to happen with that is we're going to need to sand off all that lacquer until we get to a really good surface, because I don't want to paint over something that's then going to peel off again. So let's get started. So I've grabbed my sanding trolley, and basically what I'm going to do now is I don't really like using this type of filler. I used to use it until I found stuff that I kind of feels better, but my friends that help out like to use it. So that's why it's been prepared with that. So what I'm going to do is just use some 80 grit and start to just cut this down a bit. It's not actually too far away, so I'll do that, and then I'll use a bigger sanding block to do that bit so that we don't kind of put waves in it or whatever. So I'll get cracked on with that. that's what it looks like just now. It's a little bit low there, so we'll need to address that. If I'd used guide coat, you'd be able to see that, but it'd be all black because the guide coat would be just sitting there because you wouldn't be touching it when you're sanding it, and that's how you know when there's low spots. So, but this all feels pretty good. That feels good. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get the DA, and just in case you haven't, I was going to show you, but it's not on the trolley, so that's my fault. I'll go and find it. So yeah, I'm going to use the DA and just go to 180 grit. So that was 80 grit, just to cut that down fast. So that's just a kind of build-in filler, if you like, and then we kind of go to sort of finer grade. So got a 180, all these scratches out. Unfortunately, I've gone a little bit higher than ideal, but it'll be okay with the way I'm going to blend it. So basically I'm going to 180 all that, and then I'm going to move on to the next filler. So I'll show you doing that and then go back onto time lapse, otherwise it'll be a long boring video. So that's the DA. Just going to grab a 180 disc and pop that on, lining up the wee holes. We've not got extraction on this. And I'm just going to sand it out. Just let the compressor build a little bit more pressure. So now that I've sanded that to the correct grit for the next filler, what I'm going to do is give it a blow off and a panel wipe just to make sure that the surface is clean and degreased, just to make sure that the next filler adheres properly. And then we'll get that on, and then I'll show you how we cure that. So now that it's blown out and degreased, I'm going to get some filler and just put a bit more on. I like to try and have everything that I need to hand, save wasting any time going to get things. Quite like these big spreaders. The former owners left a few of these, and so I gave them a go and I was quite impressed with them, so I mainly use these now. Just make sure the spreader is clean. I always either mix up not enough filler or too much. I can never get a happy medium, and it's been like that for years, so it's probably not going to change. So it's 2%, which is round about a pea size to a golf ball. It's a little bit sticky because it's cold. I really would be better keeping the filler in the paint room or even in here, because it spreads a lot nicer when it's a little bit warmer. I'm just going to cover over everything that's metal or filler. Making sure we get it right into any little recesses. So this is UV drying filler that I'm using. So I did put the hardener in it as you saw, but it also cures with UV light, so it means that the filler is ready to sand in just a few minutes. So that's very helpful for speeding things up. gave that longer because it's a reasonable sized area, and now I'm going to use some guide coat. So that's it filled and sanded down to 320 grit, so I'll let you have a look and see how it's looking just now. So that's what it's ended up looking like. You end up putting lots of filler on and then sanding lots off and eventually get it in the shape that you want. Well, I do anyway. So that's 320 grit, so now all I need to do is primer it. So what I'm going to do is clean this up, mask it off, put a sheet under it and over it, and then basically just do the priming, and then I'll be ready just to put the base coat on. So that's it all sheeted up, and basically now what I'm going to do is just prime it. So I'll let you have a wee look. So it's all ready just to throw the primer on. I've just cut a little circle around the sanded area just so the primer goes on there and it doesn't go on the non-sanded area. And then basically what I'll do is I'll cut a bigger hole around it and then sand around that whole area, then mask off, and then we'll be good to paint it. So that's it all primed. It is a clear UV primer, which takes a bit getting used to because a lot of primers are obviously grey, but you can see the build just from 3 coats of that. It's absolutely fantastic, the build you get. Traditionally kind of rattle can primers wouldn't be a very high build, and that's why people use kind of gun primer, which is definitely still useful if you're doing big areas, but that's really great build just from those 3 coats, and that only took about 15 minutes, so that's a bit of a game changer if you're trying to get through lots of work. So now what I'm going to do is sand this, make sure there's no edges. So right now there's a soft edge, excuse me, and then what I'm going to do is sand out the rest of the panel as well, because what I'll do is I'll throw a base coat over the primed area obviously, and then what I'll do is I'll just lacquer the full wing, and that should hopefully give us a reasonable colour blend. So there you go, all that time just to repair and paint a wing, and that was without you seeing us pulling the dents out of it. So it does take a long time, hence why paintwork's not cheap. I'll show you how it's looking. So that's it all painted and lacquered. So you maybe saw in the time lapse I demasked the indicator and the badge, and I've taken that masking tape away from the bottom because you don't want to get you don't really want to be pulling it off if it's very close when it's dry, because sometimes it can take the lacquer with it. So that's the reason for doing that. So I'll finish demasking it next time I'm in. So that's going to be the end of that episode. I hope you enjoyed watching it, and next time we will be sorting out the bumpers, and it might look slightly different next time you see it. It might have some lettering on it, or I might wait and do it on camera. We'll see when it comes, how busy I am. So yeah, hope you enjoyed it. Take care of yourselves. I'll see you in the next episode, and if you want to be notified about that episode, just subscribe and turn notifications on. Thanks.